you have audio, Scott?
I do.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
The regular meeting of the Aurora City Council for August 26, 2024 is called to order. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Kaufman.
Here.
Councilmember Bergen. Here. Councilmember Coombs.
Present.
Councilmember Gardner.
Here.
Councilmember Hancock.
Here.
Councilmember Drinsky.
Here.
Councilmember Lawson.
Here.
Councilmember Medina.
Here.
Councilmember Murillo.
Present.
Councilmember Sundberg.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Zvonek.
Here.
There's a quorum.
Please join me in an invocation. O Lord, our God and our Father, we come to you and we ask that you would look upon this particular gathering tonight to keep us safe and guide us in our decisions. Bless our city with honorable citizens, industries, sound education, and good government. Unite our community together. Even though we come from different backgrounds, we pray that there be justice and peace in our city. Give the city council and citizens the wisdom, direction, and sensitivity to the business and proceedings before us tonight. Hear us, therefore, as we commit this meeting to the help of the community. Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. During the executive committee, we discussed personnel matters. Motion is in order for the approval of the minutes of August 12th.
Mayor, I move to approve the minutes.
Very well. It's moved by Councilmember Sundberg, seconded by
Bergen.
Councilmember Bergen to approve the minutes of April 12th, 2024. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, call for the question on the approval of the minutes from August 12th, 2024.
Mayor Kaufman,
Mayor votes yes.
the motion passes to adopt the August 12th, 2024 City Council meeting minutes.
Land acknowledgement. The City of Aurora acknowledges that we gather on the territories and ancestral homelands of the Cheyenne, Ute, Arapaho, and Lakota peoples, past and present. We also recognize the 48 contemporary tribal nations that are historically tied to the lands that made up the state of Colorado. Indigenous peoples have remained committed to the stewardship of this land over many centuries. As these words of acknowledgement are spoken and heard, the ties that these nations have to their traditional homelands and to their vital place in the ecosystem are renewed and reaffirmed, and we are called to be better stewards of the land we inhabit as we continue to work to meet the needs of our entire community. Do we need a call-in line? No.
City
Mayor-
Council welcomes feedback from the public on both matters appearing on the agenda and during public invited to be heard. If you would like to speak and have not already spoken to an operator, please press *3. For those watching on Channel 8, call 855-695-3475 and press *3 when connected. You will hear a prompt confirming you are in line to speak to an operator and then be able to continue listening to the meeting. When the operator comes on the line, please be ready to give them your name and the agenda item you wish to speak on. Keep in mind you must press *3 before the city clerk reads the title of the item you wish to speak on. Finally, as a reminder, council does not allow comments about any items on the agenda during public invited to be heard. Each speaker is allowed 3 minutes, and public invited to be heard is limited to 1 hour in total.
El Consejo Municipal de la Ciudad de Aurora da la bienvenida a la opinión de sus habitantes y otros vecinos en asuntos comparecientes en la agenda y durante la invitación a la audiencia. Esta sesión tiene disponible interpretación. Por favor, háganos saber si usted necesita este servicio. Recuerde que el Consejo no permite comentarios de la audiencia mientras se dirigen asuntos de la agenda del día. Por favor, confirme su turno y espera la invitación para comentario público. Gracias.
Let me make a decorum statement. Council has created a public forum and wants to receive citizen input. Creating a public forum is not a legal requirement, but since Council has created that opportunity, First Amendment protections apply. This forum provides the most protections for free speech and is the most scrutinized speech by the courts. You are asked to follow the same rules that the Council follows. Attacks of a personal nature are not permitted. Causing a disturbance is not allowed. We ask that you respect those who are speaking, whether you are in agreement with the content or not. Council should be given the opportunity to address staff and exchange contact information when the speaker is at the podium. Council may clarify statements related to any of the speaker's comments at the conclusion of public invited to be heard, but shall not enter into debate with the speakers. With that, go ahead, and if you adhere to the 3 minutes, I will support an extension if there are more people that desire to speak. If not, we will be limited to 1 hour.
Ayante Anderson.
Good afternoon, Council, or good evening. 95 days. We're on the 95th day now. It's the same speech that you've probably have already heard, that we just simply want answers. Kylan's family deserves answers. 95 days. 95. We're now entering we've already just passed a milestone for this family where all of our schools just opened up. 2 kids went to schools in your communities without their father being able to send them off. We'll approach Halloween, where 2 kids will put on costumes of their favorite characters to go get candy, but there'll be a parent that's missing that was usually there. Thanksgiving, when everybody's family's getting good. I mean, I know black folks, we know how to cook. And so now somebody's going to be missing at the end of that dinner table this Thanksgiving. Christmas is going to come. Presents are going to be under a tree. Opening up presents with a parent missing this holiday season. And that's not something that is just unique to 2024, but will be for the rest of their lives. Now, I get it. Council, you don't have the authority to say, we as a council, we want to fire said officer. I've heard the speeches from both Mayor Kaufman, from the city manager, and I know that you can at least say, hey, can I get an update as a council member? As this is an issue happening in my district, in my ward, my community, I hear about it every council meeting. Can I just get an update? Like, where are we at in this investigation? Can we send the family a quick update saying, hey, just to let you know that this is still ongoing? They have heard nothing from the city, nothing. So I think that it would just be incumbent upon you just to ask the question to the city manager, your sole employee, just ask him, hey, can you ask your other employees where we're at with this investigation? We would love to be able to approach this family the next time they come and say, this is where we are at. We are actively looking for answers. All of you stood up that was here that Kylan Lewis should be alive today. So that means you are invested in making sure this family has some answers, because if it was your loved one taken away from you, you damn sure would want some answers before 95 days. It's just not that hard to ask. And so I'm hoping that today that you'll hear again from folks that are just tired. Trust me, there's any place else that I'd rather be right now than to be at the Aurora City Council meeting. Trust me. Hell, 95 days.
LaRonda Jones.
I'm just going to start out with just like Ayante say, 95 days. It's a long time. And what I think about when he was saying those words is not only will his kids not be with him he will not be with his kids on these holidays, his family won't be there either. And I think about that I shared his birthday this year in March. Now, most of you guys know that I lost 2 sons. Then when March come around again, this March at least I had Kylan. Next March, I won't have neither one of my sons. Both of them born on the same day. So at least I had one son to share a birthday with. I have not one now on March 18th. So like I said, I listened in last city council meeting on the city manager saying that he don't have the authority to fire, to do none of that, but somebody does. Wow. And I need that to happen. I need answers what's going on with this investigation. I need answers on everything, because it hurts my heart to know that 95 days today and I still don't know nothing what's going on about anything. And I think about Thanksgiving coming up. I think about my birthday coming up in 3 weeks. And my kids always share my birthday with me. When you miss one child, just like during that time when it says that the shepherd goes back when he has lost one sheep. He goes back to find that one sheep and lead the 99 that's together. Well, this year, I have 2 sheep that won't be in the presence on my birthday this year in 3 weeks, and that hurts. Nor would I sit at the table with them coming to Colorado to cook for them, to cook for their families and sit around as a big family to enjoy Thanksgiving, Christmas, all the other holidays. He will not be there. While everybody else is laughing and saying, oh, we're thankful for being here together as a family. Everybody's here to celebrate and in honor. We give honor to God, especially in Thanksgiving and Christmas, and the kids run out, like running to the tree to see what gifts they got, running to see their families walking in to give them their gifts and hugging them and kissing them and embracing them. My grandkids won't have that this year. All because of a reckless person that took matters in his own hands, that committed premeditated first-degree murder. And every time I think about that, it doesn't sit right. You guys do something. 95 days. Don't let it take more than that.
Kiowa Lewis. Kiowa Lewis.
All right, here we are again. 95 days later. My best friend has been gone in 5 more days. It'll be 2,400 hours, 8,460 seconds that my brother has been gone, and yet nothing has happened. This will be a year that we will not be able to link up together and go and help the less fortunate when it comes to kids. But I have to do it by myself, to go and give presents to those who are less fortunate that don't have anything. Well, I can't really say anything. They have their parents, you know. But yet we're not able to go and tackle this thing together. Yet this is going to be the first year, but not the first time, that I've seen my mom break down in tears. And just like she'll try to hide it, but I ain't stupid. You know, y'all, not y'all, I'm sorry. What has been taken away from my mom is nothing like a mother's love. Like no man on this entire earth could ever feel what a woman feels when it comes to birthing a child and what that really feels like, and being able to take care of them, nurse them, nurture them, breastfeed them, so on and so forth. Us as men, we don't get it. That's the reason it's easy for men to do the things that they do in higher positions. I know it's not making sense to y'all what I'm trying to say, but it's been 95 days, y'all. It's about to be 100 days. And I don't get to see my brother ever again. I know y'all don't have the power to do anything to this officer. I get that, I do. And this is not y'all's fault. But what I'm asking y'all to do is stand on the side of righteousness. Stand on the side of, you know, making sure that justice is actually brought. Because the thing is, we have seen it numerous times throughout history of this entire world. When we see that the authorities do not have to follow the laws, people get rebellious really quick, y'all. And the thing is, we don't want commotion. We don't want none of that out here. I love y'all because I have to, not just because I have to. I don't know y'all. The Most High tells me I need to. We all sit in this together. we all can make a change. We are the new change. Y'all are the new change as well. So don't think that it's us against y'all. It's actually us, me and y'all against evil. You know, so I'm asking y'all to go ahead and stand with us. Every last one of y'all. I don't hate none of y'all. I love every last one of y'all. Shoot, if y'all invited me, I'll show up to Thanksgiving.
Midian Holmes. Midian, thank you.
Jason, now we're at day 95. We were at day 81, now we're at day 95. Just so you know, there's no justification coming for what happened to Kylan Lewis. City Council, if I'm not mistaken, he's your only employee. And the last time we're here, he's one of your employees. And the last time we were here, you listened to him tell the entire community what he can't do. We heard nothing about what you can do. So I'm going to read an insert from a letter that I wrote because that's what I can do. Dear Vice President Harris, I had the honor of watching you accept the nomination for the presidential race. I am leaning into this letter not only as a mother, but also as an aunt. You introduced us to your beautiful family while in Chicago, and it wasn't lost on me that the young eyes looking up to you sit inside of beautiful black skin. I write you today with a heavy heart, sis, as this letter serves as a warning that your nephews and nieces are not safe in Aurora, Colorado. Black bodies are systemically targeted and lynched in the streets by those sworn to protect us. The police in Aurora have made it clear that our lives are not valued, that our children are not safe, and that our futures can be taken from us without consequence. The leadership in this city continues to dismiss our cries for justice. Instead of addressing the brutal realities we face, they focus on telling us what they can't do. Madam Vice President, I repeat, your nephews and nieces are not safe in Aurora, Colorado. The streets of Aurora are fraught with danger for those who look like us, and until real change is made, we remain at risk. This is not just about policy, this is about the survival of our people. When the state permits such violence to go unchecked, it sends a message that Black lives truly don't matter. Madam Vice President, warn your loved ones to stay out of this city. That is an excerpt from a letter that I wrote to her, and on day 100 of these letters will be mailed to Madam Vice President. And we will continue to let everyone know exactly what is happening in this city. And just so you know, this is just an excerpt. In that letter, I name each and every one of you by name of who is responsible for justifying lynching in our street. I am showing you what I can do. We are showing you what we can do. We have been faced with nothing from this council except for what you can't do. I don't know why you are sitting and being that comfortable with incompetence. Anywhere else on your resume, you'll put what you're capable of. My hope is that the entire nation knows that the next time they see your resume, they remember what you said you couldn't do. It has been 95 days. There is no justification coming for the lynching of Kylan Lewis. We know that the CIRT is done with their investigation. Get active.
Robert Lewis. Robert Lewis. Robert Lewis. Gina Simeon. Andres Lewis.
So, here in 95 days, it's so different. And I get it, you guys will never understand or even imagine how I feel, how we all feel. And it's like I would never put this on anybody. But now I do. I wish you guys could feel how I feel. Because you guys are safe. You guys are code 4, but we're not. And you guys are supposed to be about the community. This is not a community. It's like we're targets in a freaking video game or something. But you guys are safe, though. And my baby's not. And it's not fair. And also to know you guys are capable of doing something, but you sit up here and look at us like with blank faces, like we're a joke. This is not a joke. This is my life that was taken by one of your community members who's supposed to protect. But he's a murderer who's at home. How's that protecting your community when you have a murderer out there? Just like he killed my baby, he'll kill another person. Period. But you guys are supposed to protect us. You guys are supposed to do something to either remove him out of the community so it can be somewhat safe, but you guys are looking at us and telling us you can't when you can. Why let a murderer just stay at home and getting paid? Getting paid. You guys are paying him, writing his checks off. How could you guys constantly sleep at night? I know you guys have a conscience somewhere, because that's just unheard of. I know you guys saw the video. I know you guys know what happened. And in the back of your mind, you got to know Kylan was murdered. And you guys tell the murderer just to go home. I think about that every day because I'm like, there's nothing I could do because I want to do something. But you guys can. And you just don't want to. Like, what did Kylan do to you guys? But just be a person of y'all community, a black man in y'all community, living his life. And you guys just came in and took it. And then don't want to do nothing about it. 95 days. That is unheard of. But either way, as the days go on, it's going to be, Kylan's name is going to shine because he will win at the end.
Brandon Gerke.
You keep hearing 95 days, almost 100 days now, since Kylan Lewis was killed by Officer Deke. Where are the updates about the investigation? Where is the unedited body cam footage? Today I want to talk about the systems that investigate officer-involved police misconduct and use of deadly force, and as well as the inherent conflicts of interest that exist within the critical incident response team. As Median mentioned, this body is made up of participating agencies within the Arapahoe County and the 18th Judicial District. Essentially, what this means is that the police investigate themselves. Make that make sense. It's been 95 days, and yet this body, the Critical Incident Response Team, is dragging their feet. What I'm proposing as a member of Denver Aurora Community Action is community control over the police. That the police should be in charge of how policing is conducted in their community. This is a demand that Black Panthers put forth and that our sister chapter in Chicago put forth and have made steps to in Chicago in the form of ECPS. These councils are democratically elected by the residents of a city, bodies that aren't made up of police family of police, or other currently elected official. These bodies have the ability to investigate all police shootings and allegations of police misconduct with subpoena power. The power to determine police budget, review and sign off on police policies. This is a fundamental shift into how policing is carried out into our communities. Not this nonsense where it's 2 steps removed from a democratic process, because Jason, you're not elected, and yet you have control over how policing is carried out. Whether we disagree if the police needs to be abolished, defunded, or changed in some sort of way, what we first need is that the people need to have the power to make those decisions and how policing is carried out. So one more time, it's been 95 days, stop dragging your feet, and you keep telling us you can't do anything, and yes you can. And we're gonna keep coming back out here because the change happens at the power of the people that make change happen. Thank you.
Eliza Lucero.
Hello, council members. I'm here with, everyone else in the community to demand justice for Kylan Lewis still. I've heard that you all have been making a lot of excuses again and again about what you can't do, about what Jason can't do. So I'm not going to take too much time. I'm just going to say there's actually something tonight that you guys can take in action and actually not do. So I'm going to yield the rest of my time to speak about that later, about what you guys cannot do tonight that would be a step towards justice for Kylan. Thank you.
Angelia Baker.
First, I'd like to thank Angela Lawson. I'd like to thank you for taking the time to take my phone call, my email, my messages, and response, not only to anything that I've approached you with, but in regards to our ward. Recently, there was a post in the Nextdoor app that I reached out to my councilwoman in discussion with. There was another member on this council that felt like it was their due diligence to make a comment, knowing that we'd already communicated with our own councilwoman. I don't need you to make a comment in regards to what is going on in my community. That's why I have her. That's why I have at large. 95 days, you should have been focusing on speaking up for Kylan Lewis. You should have been worried about what's going on in your ward, your household, but yet and still, you had the moment to speak on my issue. So I'm going to speak as a mother right now. I have a black son. Some of you have a black son. Some of you have a black son that might be present. Some of you might have a black son that is watching. Every day, I wonder, am I going to get that call? Is it going to be my son that they're saying justice for Brenton Johnson? That's my son's name. I hope I never have to hear my son's name. And the way that that can change, we're going to talk about it later on. But it can change with you. It can change with you, Jason. It can change with the district attorney. There's the power. But it also can change with that interruption that came into the conversation with my councilwoman. You could use that same energy, and write a letter or a comment to your district attorney and say, where are things? But it didn't happen. I learned the statement, and it could be ethnic, mind the business that pays you. I ask you to mind the business of Kylan Lewis and his family and reflect on these 95 days that they have went without their loved one. I ask you to just simply send an email to the district attorney and ask, where are things? We don't want to come back. I'll come back for my community, but I have Angela Lawson to thank for that, and I could communicate with her without coming here. I just ask you to stand on your Christian principles that you speak on. Stand on your background of your black son, your black children. Stand on your principles as a parent, an uncle, or anyone that is a human being, and speak out for Kylan Lewis by just writing a letter to your district attorney. Thank you, Mike.
Johnny Joe Gavin. Johnny Joe Gavin.
Good evening, council members. I am Johnny Joe Gavin Truant, and I am furious that I'm still here after 95 days. People have been talking about what you can and can't do. Well, I've got one thing that you can do right now. Can you simply stand if you believe Kylan Lewis should still be alive?
Those communications should wait till after public invited to be heard.
I'm sorry?
Protocol is that there are no exchanges or communications, whether physical or otherwise, until after public invited to be heard. Then council members will have the opportunity.
Y'all stood last time and you can't stand again. Are you putting decorum over just saying that a life should be here?
I clarified.
There we go. Little Kylan sat in my lap. His father should still be here. You have the chance to stand now if you agree. He's a beautiful boy. He should still have his father.
Live, Mike, across America.
I yield the rest of my time to pray that you stop lynching in this city. By refusing to stand, you are complicit in the system that says black men should be lynched on the street without due process, without a care in just 8 seconds. You disgust me. Stop this lynching nonsense and stand with the community and with God to say that Kylan Lewis should still be alive. Or else your time will be up, Mayor Mike Kaufman. Thank you.
Kirk Mezaneres.
Good evening, Aurora, and my city council members, Ruben, Angela, Crystal. I'm here this evening to discuss illegal dumping and trash in the city of Aurora. I'm started with my apartment complex and where I live, and I thought about all the children that live in my complex and how they have to see this dumping and this trash and the raccoons and the skunks and now the rats. And I'm like, where is my city that is stopping this from happening, where people come from the whole metropolitan area and they travel into Aurora to dump? I've been to many, many city meetings. I've seen the plans for the development of Aurora, the plans for 5 years from now, the plans for 10 years from now, the plans for 20. It's going to drastically change. And yet, we're going to grow from 350,000 to over 700,000 people. And what are we going to do? Are we going to be remembered for being a trash heap, for being a dumping ground for the whole metropolitan area? of Denver? When is it going to stop? It's just not my apartment building. It's all around Aurora that I've noticed and I've watched and I've started taking pictures. Boats and cars and burned up cars and burned up RVs and just trash heaps everywhere. You know, even out east by the Amazon building, there's a boat right there where they're planning on developing it into the city park, you know, the sports complex. And it's enough is enough. You see on the news last week, all the trash that was lined up on 12th and Dallas. Is that how Aurora wants to be known for a trash dump? A free trash dump zone for the whole metropolitan area for contractors and people to clean up their yards and their garages and then come dump in Aurora. It's free. When are we going to do something about it? When are we going to let the rest of the metropolitan area know that this is not okay? You cannot dump in the city of Aurora. And on the second side of that, it's horrible that the apartment complexes have to clean up after the illegal dumping, but if they're not willing to do something to stop it, then it becomes their ultimate responsibility to clean it up. You know, every apartment complex owner in the city of Aurora, if you're not doing anything about the illegal dumping, then you have to clean it up. We don't want to live in a city that is known for a trash dump. We just can't do it, man. There's kids. We're sending a bad signal to the kids of Aurora if we let it to continue to happen.
Robbie DeYoung.
Mayor, Council, I'm going to kind of pick up on what was just said. Today I took the time to go by, I believe it was 1561 Nome. I've driven in that area before. It's been a while, I'll admit, but I drove through that area again. How in the name of, why was it let that go for that long? Why did these people have to deal with that kind of trash and garbage? I don't care where it came from. I just care that it needed to be gone long before it was gone. I mean, that was horrible to drive through there. And this is a couple of weeks afterwards, and there's still trash everywhere. If it's not up to the owner, which it should be up to the city. And that's one of the reasons, I know, I've heard it before, we don't need just one trash service. I think we do. I have 4 different trash trucks going up and down my street during the week. Why? You only need one to go to each and every house and pick up the trash. But while we're at it, let's talk about something else. I have noticed that since February of this year, we are no longer getting crime statistics from the Aurora Police Department online. We are also, as of this month, there is a service that I use with my stolen and vandalized vehicles that I run on Nextdoor, is that on the community crime app through LexisNexis, we quit reporting. Why did we quit reporting the crimes in Aurora? This is ridiculous. We need to do something. We need to make Aurora better. This is a joke. And you all saw the letter that I sent. You all saw it. I only got response from one person, but you all saw it. I know you did. We need to do better, just like Denver needs to do better, just like every other city in this state. But we can be the example. Do better.
Preston Nunn. Albertus Simmons.
All right. So, giving honor to God, first of all. I want you all to know that we as black people catch hell every day in our lives, and especially here in Aurora. The Aurora police treat black people like we are subhumans. Not only that, but you all got an out-of-control officer by the name of Gabriel Nestor. Nestor, on August 1st, 2023, Nestor showed up at a gas station to address some homeless people. And he quickly tased a black man by the name of Philip Mitchell, a black homeless man with autism. So that was 2 years after he and his 5 other officers took Preston Nunn III, who I'm here representing today, took Preston Nunn III down to the ground, beat him to the white meat of his head, which you all see on this picture right here, hog-tied him, tasered him 5 times, drugged him. Oh, wait a minute. The white female police officer, can't leave her out, she came and did the George Floyd move. She put her foot on his neck. She just didn't keep it down there long enough. Then the chubby officer, he came over and did the karate hold and choked him. That hold is banned by your police department and by the state of Colorado. They did it anyway. Now, after that, they dragged him to the ambulance. You know what Nestor told him? I should have shot you. If y'all don't do something about these out-of-control police officers in Aurora, I don't understand. So we got to leave it up to God. That's what's going to happen. That's what I've been praying on, that I can get the people who listen to us, the 2.5 million people who see this podcast, they will have enough heart to say, you know what? We got to punish Aurora, and we got to punish them in their pockets. Yeah. We can't just let them continue to treat black people the way they do. Wow. And I'll tell you right now how to stop this. I'll tell you how to stop it all. You make them take out a policy, each police officer, that says that they will lose their pension, they'll lose their house, they'll lose their kids' college degrees or college opportunity if they get involved with a killing of a black man, an unarmed black man, or killing or beating of a black man, and all he did was do what the police officer said. He did everything that police officer asked him to do. He complied. I've asked Phil, the Attorney General, to look into this, get those guys fired and charge them with police brutality. That's the only way it's going to stop. That's the only way it's going to stop. Listen to this. I know, as I close, you cut my mic off on you. I'm going to say this, though. Okay, but as I close, I want to say, how the hell are you going to get a new police chief without the input of the black community? How do you do that? How do you do that?
Joy Walker.
Look at all of you all. Good evening, first of all. And I do want to look at all of you all in your eyes. So when I come up here, please be respectful and look at me when I speak to you and I address you all. Can that be clear? Thank you all. All right. First of all, my name is Joy Walker. 3 years ago, I was with my father in Preston and others at a press conference denouncing the brutal and disgusting attack of my cousin Preston Nunn II. Back then, the Aurora police were out of control 3 years ago. Today, the Aurora police is still out of control.
That's right.
Once again, today, the Aurora police is still out of control. We want justice for Preston Nunn III. The 6 police officers who brutally and disgustingly beat Preston have not been punished. I pray that these 6 officers are fired and are never in a position to harm anyone else. Please act as if though this problem is at your front door. Now, I pray that it never hits your front door, because it's a horrible and disgusting issue and problem to have. But if you are living in Aurora, Colorado, statistically, someone in your family, grandson, niece, nephew, godchild, nephew, someone in your family will run into a bad apple in the Aurora Police Department. And when they get their heads split in, you will want somebody, you will demand that somebody speak up for your loved one. So we're doing no different. So don't turn a blind eye to us in the community. Remember, we hold the vote, we hold the power. Step up, we demand action, or we will demand jobs, period. This brother, Kylan, rest in peace, 95 days. Well, thank you, thank you. Now, at some point, we got to step up and do something. You all are here. We voted you in. Show up and show out. Stop giving excuses. Show up and show out, council members. Enough is enough.
Medinska Justina.
Well, good evening, Mike Kaufman, our mayor, and also city councils. I actually cannot believe it what I hear today. I took actually sometimes to volunteer in a municipal court, and I cannot believe it what is going on in that court. I have no clue. And I think, Mr. Kaufman, I make you famous on my social platform. There was 250,000 people who view what is going on with the garbage, what's going on with illegal immigration, why we're having people come into court not speaking English. We have constant lack of people not paying the fines. I mean, this is absolutely just out of control. And what I'm hearing today from other community members about what is happening, I mean, this is out of control. Garbage, illegal immigration, police. I mean, we live in 2024. I am an advocate. I'm also a lawyer. I fight for wrongful convicted men and women. And we have this going on? Mr. Kaufman, we know each other. Very close. We have friends in common. But my point is here, enough is enough. When I'm sitting in a first course appearance and someone comes in and does not speak in English, has no insurance, drive the car, no license plate, what we do? We give them a fine? How are they going to pay for that? We know they're not legally in the United States. How are we going to track them down? And now we have all this debts with the court. Instead of putting money to our community and pick up the garbage, maybe invest in police officers, give them a better, maybe, I don't know, motivation interviewing, maybe just give them a little bit more classes, I don't know, maybe pro-social skills. But we're spending money on nonsense, just absolutely nonsense. That's my opinion. So I hope you're going to look into it. I disagree taking actually domestic violence cases out of actually municipal court for multiple reasons. The victims will not obtain the same time and the same also attention in a district court when they're getting municipal court. That's my opinion. They're going to disappear. They're not going to show up. Magistrates, they don't know how to actually even, I don't know, obtain or understand the victims. They don't know what to do. So they dismiss cases, and then we have another case after case after case. I disagree. I think they should stay actually in a municipal court. I think saving $3 million, it doesn't do anything. Thank you so much.
Maya Waltall.
I have been to the last 4 of these meetings. I have been watching, and I have been listening, and I have been sitting. And after each of these meetings, I go to my car and I cry. And I think about the pain that Kylan Lewis's family is going through right now, and how the only way I will ever get to know anything about him is through his death. I would like you all to think about a time when you lost someone. I want you to think about all of the emotions that are involved. The pain that eats you up, that consumes you, is the only thing you can think about. Now, I want you to imagine that you came to a government official for help. They refused to give condolences. They refused to even stand to acknowledge the life that was lost. This is the pain that Kylan Lewis's family has been going through for the past 95 days. At least give them the courtesy of a formal apology. At least refrain from insulting them and their family and their friends and their supporters. At least admit that this was wrong. At least admit it was wrong. At least vote to let them all speak. It pains me how some of you ignore and vote against and mock the very people who voted you into office, who come to share their concerns and ask for your help. You should feel lucky that this is the constituency you have who is so involved, who wants to ask for your help. At least have the courage to listen to the people who are hurting and the people who want to make this place better. A few weeks ago, Stephanie Hancock alleged that we were unpatriotic for showing up here and protesting. We are standing up for each other, and we are fighting. That is the most patriotic thing imaginable. This is our country. This is our right to stand and speak to you. The only thing that is unpatriotic in this room are elected officials who refuse to listen to the people.
KDOT. KDOT.
Good evening, Aurora. All right, 95 days. Still here in this awkward situation. 95 days of my auntie crying. 95 days of her missing her son, not being able to hold him, talk to him on the phone. We need to put a rush on this immediately, expeditiously. But here, I see Mike Kaufman smiling like, shit's funny. Because the shit's not funny. And then you interrupt the young man, Brandon, over there. Not Brandon, I'm sorry, the young man that was speaking. And you bang the gavel on him for no damn reason. You need to really listen to understand instead of listen to respond to everything. That's what you need to do. City attorney, about time we get on your ass. Well, come on. Because here's the thing. I filed several times as far as getting, it's been 95 days since we have not seen this man, this murderer, Michael Deek, being posted on the press. I filed to get that record. His face is public record. He belongs to us when he signed that paper as far as being upholding that oath. So why are you covering it up as far as denying my request as far as exposing this man, this murderer's face? And you know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about, don't you, city attorney? Yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, because you're the one who fucking denied it. Show this man, this murderer's face. So the public know exactly who the hell we're dealing with here. And stop being the goddamn coward.
Okay, we have one person on the call-in line.
Sabrina, go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello? Okay.
Go ahead.
Hello, my name is Sabrina, and I'm a member of the Denver Aurora Community Action Committee. It has been 95 days since Kylan Lewis was murdered by Officer Michael Deek, and you have yet to condemn this officer and hold the Aurora police accountable. Many often argue that the cause of police brutality is just the case of a few bad apples. However, in reality, it is not just the individual that is the problem, but the whole system. You are part of the problem. You also are responsible when an officer kills another person of color. You have encouraged and facilitated this kind of violent behavior among police. Every year, the city gives the majority of the general funds to the police, and each year that amount has grown, demonstrating your favoritism towards the police over other, I would argue, more important services. You strengthened the police's power, like condoning the use of tear gas on Elijah McClain protesters and choosing not to go forward with a law that would have banned the use of it. You did nothing when District Attorney John Kellner decided that the 2 officers who killed Jordell Richardson wouldn't be fired and charged, but instead took the officers' side and condoned their violent behavior. You destroy any semblance of safety and security for Black and brown people when you let killer cops continue to patrol the streets. Apologies will not fix this. It's an excuse to say that you don't have any control to get Officer Deek fired and charged. You have power, and you can use that power to pressure the officials who can directly do something. You need to listen to the Lewis family and many other families that are victims of police violence. You need to listen to the community. The police need to be held accountable, and Officer Michael Deek needs to be fired and charged. We at the ACAC believe in self-determination and believe in community control of the police. We want the people to have power over the police instead of the other way around. We can do this through a democratically elected Civilian Police Accountability Council, with its members having no ties to the police. This council, unlike the one that Aurora has that only offers suggestions that police often ignore, would actually have teeth. It would have the power to hire and fire officers of every rank, determine budgets and policies, investigate misconduct, punish officers, and have subpoena power. The community is tired of the police getting away with murder. We're not asking, we demand for change. We demand accountability. We demand justice for Kylan Lewis. Thank you.
That was the last individual.
Question before us is the adoption of the agenda. Motion is in order. Yes. Oh, what is it? Oh. Okay.
Mayor, item 8A, there's nobody signed up to speak on that.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Oh, I don't have the most up to date. Okay. Motion is in order for the adoption of the agenda.
Mayor,
Councilmember Bergen.
a motion to approve the adoption of the agenda.
Moved by Councilmember Bergen, seconded by
Hancock.
Seconded by Councilmember Hancock for adoption of the agenda. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, call for the question on the adoption of the agenda.
Mayor Kaufman.
Mayor votes yes.
Thank you. The motion passes to adopt the agenda.
Question before us is the adoption of the consent calendar on motions, item number 10A through 10C3. The motion is in order.
Mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Motion to adopt items 10.
Moved by Mayor
10A
Pro Tem
through
Savonic,
10C.
seconded by
Dina.
Seconded by Councilmember Medina to adopt the consent calendar on motions item number 10A through 10C3. Call for the question.
Mayor Kaufman,
Mayor votes yes.
the motion passes to adopt the consent calendar for motions.
Next question before us is the adoption of the consent calendar, resolutions and ordinances, item number 11A to 11A9.
Mayor, it's 11A1 through 11B1.
I'm sorry, 11A1, okay, through 11B1.
Mayor,
I stand corrected.
motion to approve items 11A1 through 11B1.
Second.
I'd like to remove item 11A9 from the consent calendar. Further discussion?
Mayor Coombs.
Councilmember Coombs?
I'd like to remove 11A8.
I'm sorry.
11A8.
Very well. Further discussion? Seeing none, then the question before us is the adoption of the consent calendar, item number 11A1 through 11A7 and 11B to 11B1. Discussion?
Mayor, I have Mayor Pro Tem Zvonek as the motion, and I don't have a second for that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Seconded by Councilmember Jurenski.
Okay.
Further discussion? Seeing none, call for the question
Okay, and
on
then,
the adoption of the consent calendar as amended.
Mayor, we had somebody sign up for 11B1 to speak.
Okay.
Eric Shanholzer. I don't think he's here.
Very well. Call for the question on the adoption of the consent calendar as amended. Okay.
The motion passes to adopt the consent calendar with items 11A8 and 11A9 removed.
Will clerk please read the title to item number 11A8?
Item 11A8 is Resolution 2024-111, directing the city manager to ensure that the focus of the Aurora Regional Navigation Campus remains on reducing homelessness through employment and treatment strategies proven to help individuals improve self-sufficiency and maintain stable housing.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. The purpose of this resolution is to serve as a blueprint for the navigation campus that the city will be operating with support from surrounding counties and the state. This blueprint is for Aurora's, it's what we refer to as a work-first approach in addressing homeless by focusing on employment recovery and skill development to promote self-sufficiency. The resolution outlines to city management how the council would like to see the operator run the navigation campus, outlining a 3-tier strategy, with Tier 1 providing emergency shelter with minimal services but encouraging participants to engage with case managers, with Tier 2 offering semi-private living conditions for people who are actively involved in job training, addiction recovery, and mental health counseling, and Tier 3 only for those, these are more private rooms for those who are employed or who contribute towards the housing costs. We believe that by addressing the root causes of homelessness and equipping individuals with the tools they need to achieve independence, that our work-first model will become a standard for the nation. We spent a lot of time over the course of the past 2.5 years since I've been on council looking at different models, visiting different cities to determine the best path forward, and believe that this resolution creates a plan for our navigation campus to become that blueprint that cities in the future will come to visit to determine how Aurora was successful in helping reduce homelessness.
Further discussion? Well, let me just say, I want to thank Mayor Pro Tem Zvonek for his work on this issue and bringing this forward. So they're essentially, this is the, Crown Plaza Hotel, former Crown Plaza Hotel in the vicinity of Chambers and I-70. And so it's a 255-room hotel with a mid-size conference center. And so we are converting that to an Aurora navigation and resource center to help assist the homeless. And I think that it has 3 tiers to it. The first tier being a congregate shelter for people might be newly arrived that are not yet in case management, minimal services. Second tier is much better accommodations, semi-private accommodations for people in case management that are participating in addiction recovery, that are participating in mental health, and that are participating in job training. And then the third tier are the 255 rooms in the hotel. 20 rooms will be reserved for, what's the term, the proper term? It's, what's that?
Respite. Is that what you're thinking of, the respite care?
Respite care. For people discharged from hospitals, it will be the responsibility, and that are homeless and have nowhere to go to do their healing, but they're not necessarily bad enough to be in a hospital, but not well enough to be on their own, particularly homeless. And so the discharging hospital will be responsible for equipping the rooms and staffing with the appropriate medical personnel. And then the 235 remaining rooms will be those who are working but are still in need of services, and they will be required to pay 30% of their income to support the program. So it is a work-first approach in that third tier as opposed to housing first approach that Denver has. Then again, I want to thank Mayor Pro Tem Zvonek for all of his work in bringing this forward. Further discussion?
Mayor?
Councilmember Coombs.
Yes. So I'm not going to be supporting this, not because I don't support folks working, going through treatment, but because it's a misrepresentation of what Housing First actually is. Housing First includes workforce development, it includes treatment, it includes case management, and the majority of council elected not to visit Houston, which is the only city that has actually reduced street homelessness with their Housing First approach that includes case management and other supporting services. And so, you know, I certainly support making sure people have access to those services, but Housing First also does that, for one. For two, doing it in this particular manner, which is modeled after Colorado Springs, where there's this idea that people have to be forced to do what's best for them, is also not proven to be as effective as what they do in Houston. They've not reduced the street homelessness in Colorado Springs. And so, you know, we can put out as much rhetoric as we want on the subject matter, and that doesn't make it true. So I won't be supporting that.
Further discussion?
Mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, just real quick. I respectfully, Councilmember Coombs, what you said is correct in that with Housing First, services are available, but there's no conditions for them or expectation that individuals participate in them. And so far too often, this is what happened in Denver recently. Homeless camps are swept. People are moved into hotels. They're told that services are made available. There's never case management to help them actually participate in services. And so while, yes, the street level homelessness seems to look better, it's really just a hide the homeless strategy. We're not actually addressing the root causes and helping people get help with, helping people get access to services that they need to address their, whether it's mental health issues, addiction issues, or workforce development to get employment. employed and become self-sufficient. So while it's true that Housing First does in fact have those options available, they don't make it a prerequisite or a condition. That's what's different about the approach that we're taking. And the nice thing about Aurora taking this strategy, or what I think will be a benefit, is that we have a contrast to the city right next to us. Denver is a housing first city, Aurora will be a work first city, and we will offer a great test between the two different cities on two different strategies. I personally believe that at the end of the day, Aurora will have more success on this measure, helping people move from where they are on a structured path to self-sufficiency. I think Denver does a very good job at hiding the homeless, but not actually helping them so that they're no longer in the condition where they're going to be homeless in the future. But again, time will tell, and I think that this will be a great comparison, and my hope is that it will allow for the city of Aurora and Work First to become a strategy that the federal government will recognize and allow to spread across the country.
Further discussion.
Mayor.
Councilmember Moreno.
Thank you. I am no fan at how Denver does not solve their homeless folks and support folks experiencing homelessness at all. I think what Councilmember Coombs is saying, and I agree, is that there are other housing first models that have been proven to work and be effective. And there are components that around workforce development, wraparound services. You can't force somebody to do something they don't want to do, frankly. And being able to work with folks not in a punitive way, but in a way that supports their individual path to self-sufficiency, to healing, all of that, I believe is the more appropriate and effective approach. I don't know why we keep talking about Denver, because I don't think anybody here was actually supporting anything that Denver was doing around homelessness. So in that regard, I agree. But just, I think it's not fair to say that this is the antithesis to that, because nobody was ever advocating for the solutions that Denver was proposing. There was a very specific site visit to Houston that was developed, and then as a response, a separate housing mission was created just a couple weeks ago. Nobody attended or a few folks attended the other site visit, but it was basically just to justify that we're not really going to take this other approach seriously. We're going to explore something else. So I find that a little frustrating to hear. But I guess we do agree that Denver does not have a great process. But yeah, just to be clear, I also support a housing first model, and there are examples that this can be really effective. So I also will not be supporting this.
Let me just say that nobody's forced to do anything, but to be in, to have better economy, so it's aspirational. People are encouraged to better themselves, going from congregate shelter, going to private accommodations, better accommodations for their participation in addiction recovery or mental health or job training, and then obviously getting an individual room based on work. So it's an incentive-based system, and I think it's important to note that. Further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, question before us is the adoption of 11A8. Call for the question.
Mayor, we need a motion and a second.
Motion.
I'm sorry.
Mayor, motion to approve item 11A8.
Moved by Mayor Pro Tem Zvonik, seconded by
Hancock.
Councilmember Hancock to approve item number 11A8. Call for the question.
The motion passes with 7 yes votes and 3 no votes from Councilmember Coombs, Medina, and Murillo.
Clerk, now please read the title to 11A9.
Item 11A9 is Resolution 2024-112, expressing the Aurora City Council's strong support of digital monument signs. The City Council directs the City Manager to support this endeavor through a code review and a contract negotiation for the purpose of entering into an agreement with Lamar Advertising Company. And Mayor, we do have one person who would like to speak.
Very well. Please proceed.
Matthew Ragones.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, City Council, for giving me the opportunity to speak. A little bit about myself. My name is Matt Raganisi. I'm the General Manager of Outfront Media. I've been with my company for about 20 years now. A little background on Outfront. Outfront is one of the largest and most innovative out-of-home companies in the United States. We have one of the largest digital footprints in the country with over 800 local and national account executives. We have access to all the largest agencies, clients, and brands. A little bit about the history and concerns that we have on this. We became aware of this agenda item for tonight's meeting late on Friday afternoon, but we've been following it since it was first introduced in February of 23 at the Planning and Economic Development Policy meeting. This is where city staff clearly stated that a potential contract must go through a competitive bid process. In March of 23, we followed the study session. In April 23, representatives of Outfront informed staff that were interested in providing a competitive bid for this project. Through 23 and 24, our representatives at CRL continued to have conversations with staff and were informed that this would go through a competitive RFP process. Since then, we've been inquiring about the status and the timeline of the RFP. We're anticipating an RFP would be issued, and we were extremely surprised to see this on tonight's agenda. We have deep concerns about this process, and we do feel a little bit misled. The concerns about the process, we believe that the purchasing codes and the procurement rules exist to ensure that the city and the council approve what's in the best interest and best value for the city of Aurora. We are not against Lamar nor digital signage. Our issue is that this is with the sole sourcing of this project without going to a competitive bid. We've participated in competitive bids in Colorado and across the country. For example, we won the competitive bid for the Denver International Airport exterior digital signage in 2018. My question to council is, without a competitive bid, how can the city and the council be certain that they're approving the best value for the city of Aurora? Our request is that we'd love to have the opportunity to participate and bid on this project. We believe other out-of-home companies would also like to bid. Therefore, we ask you to deny this item and move to a competitive bid process as required by code. Thank you for your consideration, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions of the witness?
Mayor, I have one.
Councilmember Joinski.
Are we not supposed
This isn't a public hearing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you very much for your testimony.
Thank you.
Okay, very well. Councilmember Joinski. Well,
Okay,
okay,
cool.
so, well, why don't we do a motion first?
Mayor,
Motion is in order.
Mayor, motion to approve.
It's moved by Councilmember Drinsky.
Yes.
Moved by Councilmember Drinsky, seconded by?
Zvonik.
Second by Mayor Pro Tem Zvonik to approve item number 11A9. Discussion? Let me just say, I think two things. I think number one, this really needs to follow a competitive bid process. I think going to a sole source bid on something that is competitively done in the private sector is not consistent with our procurement code. In fact, compromises the integrity of our procurement code. So I really believe that this needs to be rewritten in two ways. Number one, I think it should be a true pilot program. And a true pilot program is not, was it 5? I think we have 5 sites right now. It'd be 1 or 2 sites, 1 or 2 sites and 1 or 2 locations.
Mayor Gardner.
Yeah, Councilmember Gardner.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I would like to propose an amendment to this along, I guess, the lines of what you were just saying, though. I would like to point out that our procurement code doesn't define pilot program, so I guess we can disagree on what a pilot program is. To me, a pilot program would be limited locations and a limited length of time. We're limiting it to 5 locations for 5 years, though I guess we can disagree on whether or not that counts as a pilot. That's all to say, I would like to propose an amendment to the 4th whereas clause So I'll read what I'm proposing and I guess find out if the sponsor of the item considers it a friendly amendment. So I'm proposing to change it to whereas the council has decided to pursue the pilot program and a contract with Lamar Advertising Company to implement the pilot program.
I don't know what that change, maybe staff can interpret that because I don't see where that changes anything.
Mayor,
Yeah, Councilmember Drewski.
thank you. So Councilmember Gardner, I do take that as a friendly amendment, and what he's proposing is to turn this into a pilot program, which is originally how I brought this forward, was as a pilot program. So I absolutely consider that a friendly amendment. And for the company, and I appreciate you guys coming tonight, Outward Advertising, I guess I just am really concerned. You've been following this the whole time since I brought it forward, and I went through a policy committee, I went through a study session. I went the whole length to bring this forward. You knew there was a council sponsor on this. I've not heard from you guys personally, not one time. And then I find out today that you're personally texting and emailing some of my colleagues, but I am the council sponsor, and I've not heard from you at all. And I've been working on this, personally working on this for 2 years now. So I think, at some point, it is worth having a conversation. I wish you guys would have come to me. It's very frustrating that you didn't. But I do take the friendly amendment to turn this into a pilot program.
Councilmember Bergen.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So is staff available? I can ask questions to staff, right?
Yes, staff.
And I just want to say, it did come to the Planning and Economic Development Committee that I chair, and we decided to move it forward as a pilot program. At the time, it was one location, 1 year, possibly 2 years, not 5 locations in 5 years with the ability to renew with another 5 years. So I don't consider that a pilot program, but my question, I have several. One is regarding, and this came up during the PED meeting as far as communication, First Amendment rights. So what authority does the city have in terms of retaining what message, that authority on what messages can be displayed or who can advertise?
This is Janine Rustad, Director of Planning and Business Development. As a First Amendment right question, I will defer to legal counsel.
Well, George, I don't know if you're online, but the city would have to be neutral on the content of the messages or the advertisements that are accepted by whoever would be running this pilot program. Time, place, and manner is all we're providing here.
Right. And just for clarification to the public, this is for a digital billboard to be placed on city properties, and that's why I asked the question, because if it's on city property, we will not have that authority to be able to say what can be messaged, what can be advertised. So my other question is in regards to UDO changes. What type of UDO changes would have to happen, and does that invite, basically if we change the code for this company, does that mean that the code is open to anybody to do digital billboard advertising throughout the city in non-city property?
That is correct. These would be off-premise signs, which are currently limited to the I-2 zone within 1,000 feet of a highway. We do allow monument signs that are on-premise, and on-premise means they are advertising what you can get on those premises. So think if McDonald's had a sign, or car washes is another one we see with these signs. If we were to try to limit it to just city property, I think we would run afoul of potentially First Amendment. But also, if we were to look at just these 5 properties, that would amount to spot zoning, which is not legal.
Okay, thank you, because I did find that problematic. And then also, if it's supposed to be a pilot program, again, I don't agree that 5 years and with a 5-year renewal is a pilot program. I wish the sponsor would go back to a smaller number, but how can they be removed? And under what conditions would this is a monument, right? Like built. It's not just, so how would that be able to be removed? Do we have conditions of terminating the contract, and could we remove it? I guess that's part of that the attorney.
I think that's part of what the resolution is directing. The resolution is directing me and staff to negotiate that contract, and those are provisions that we would include in the contract as to responsibility for removing the signs and returning it to the existing conditions.
Okay, and then with that, how can a resolution direct the city manager to negotiate for one vendor without going through the RFP process? Because that seems to not be a fair process, I would say. And I think it invites, some issues because it looks like favoritism to me. So then just, I guess, that is a concern, is that it just seems unfair that it would not go through the RFP process. Let's see if there was anything else. I noticed there was one at Towns Reach Library, and so it would be, I think one of the council members did not want them at fire stations, but Towns Reach has a fire station there. So I didn't know if that was going to bother the other council member or not. So I will not be supporting this unless it is changed to a lower number of locations, preferably one. And I guess my question is, what is the harm in doing one location for 1 year, even maybe 2 years? If it's successful, then we can add more. I don't understand why we would not want to find out if it actually if there's problems or if it truly is successful. Thank you.
Mayor?
Councilmember Jaworski.
So for me, and again, I first started working on this almost 2 years ago, and I brought this through all the channels that I was supposed to bring this through. If there was any sort of negotiating, you just shut it down. You didn't necessarily you refused to meet with Lamar, you refused to meet with them in Vegas, you refused to meet with them. Yeah. So you could have been a part of the conversation, but you chose not to be. And with this friendly amendment, making this an RFP, making this a pilot program, that does not require an RFP. And absolutely, if for whatever reasons, the signs aren't liked or, another company is picked after the pilot program, that's a part of, they will be responsible for taking the signs down. Absolutely. But again, I have been working on this for almost 2 years. I've not heard from any other company. I've not heard from anybody. And I have been working on this for 2 years.
Yeah. Could I respond?
Councilmember Bergen.
Just because you said that I was not for the program. I actually did move forward in the PED committee. I moved it forward as a pilot program. So it's not that I was against it. I was for it with limited number of locations and a limited term to be able to evaluate the effectiveness of it. And also, I did not meet. I went to ICSC, which is an international conference on shopping centers, to bring business back to the city of Aurora. And yes, I was approached to meet with that particular client, or not client, but Lamar with that company. And no, I did not feel it was appropriate for me to meet in Las Vegas for something that was being considered when I already made my thoughts already made at study session and at PED. I just didn't think it was appropriate.
I think, I get that you have a special relationship with Lamar, and I appreciate that. But that's not the contracting process that we have. And your special relationship should not dictate that they're the only ones that can do this. It really needs to go to an RFP and a competitive process. Councilmember Lawson.
Thank you, Mayor. So I sat on the PED committee with my colleague over here, Councilmember Bergen, and what I found kind of interesting is this company They did not. All of a sudden, we got an email on Saturday afternoon talking about they wanted to be part of the process. We never heard anything from this company. Today, because my colleague wanted a vote, one of these gentlemen, they sent me an email personally. They didn't send anybody else one. So I thought, Mayor, I like to speak.
Sure.
Because I have a right to speak. If I want you call out people, I have a right as well.
Please finish.
So I find that very interesting because of a vote situation. If you want to talk about suspect, why wouldn't you talk to any of us? But you wanted to just send an email on Saturday. I went out and actually talked to Lamar and gave them an opportunity, told them how I felt about how the process when we were talking about MPD, and I want to be transparent about this. I met with them because I looked around the city and I saw that these signs were throughout the city in Centennial and different places. I also know that my constituents, a lot of them live in apartment buildings, so a lot of them don't get communications. So this might be a way that we can communicate about town halls, about what's going on. A lot of residents don't even know what's happening in the city. So I was against it. But then I went and did talk to Lamar, and I did say, you know what, I support this because I think it's a good idea. I was against it at the beginning, but I think that we need to tell the whole story about this organization or this company because we just reached out, unless something that city staff didn't tell us, but this company reached out to us on Saturday. And I find that to be very inappropriate practice if you want us to support something. So I will be supporting this amendment, and I think that all truth should come out. Councilmember Bergen, Mayor Kaufman.
Mayor Gardner.
And Mayor, can I complete?
Please finish.
I mean, you guys are always interrupting me. Let me finish. So that's what I think. I'm going to support this, and I think I'm telling what happened in my sphere of why I'm supporting the signs when I was against the signs from the get-go.
Mayor.
And I tell this company here, what you did was not very transparent just to give us an email, and then you particularly sent me an email today, I think around 2 o'clock, trying to talk to me personally because you knew that I was going to be the vote for this proposal.
It's going to be Councilmember Bergen, then Councilmember Gardner, and then I want somebody from staff to tell this council what the RFP process is and how it works.
Okay, so I just want to make clear that, yes, we got an email from the out front media Saturday, went to all council, and so I saw that and read it. They have a right to email us. I think my concern is the RFP process, and it's also, my concern is that once we make the code changes to allow these digital billboards, that means anybody is going to be able to do this. You cannot show favoritism and say, oh, one company gets to do it and nobody else that is a competitor that has the ability to do the same thing, that you cannot deny them. So we are going to see billboards all over the city of Aurora everywhere. And personally, I don't want that in my city. That's not the crux of my argument. My crux of my argument is that it needs to go through an RFP process, and that 5 locations, 5 years, with an extension of 5 more years is not a pilot program.
Councilmember Gardner.
Yeah, I want to respond because I was the council member reference that originally opposed this because it was at a fire station. So a couple things. First, worked with Lamar on finding some locations that I think are a little bit better. I think the Towns Reach complex that does have a fire station but also has a library, it's kind of a civic center, is a lot better. Also negotiated with Lamar the original proposal had 1 communication slide for the city of Aurora. Now it's going to have 2 communication slides for the city of Aurora. So was able to negotiate that, which I think is better for the city because that is 1 more slide of communication. I think where this is really frustrating is because, you know, a lot of the concerns that are being brought up around First Amendment violations and things like that, that would exist whether there's 5 locations, 100 locations, or even 1 location. So I don't think it's really about the number of locations. I think it's really about opposition to the program, and that's fine, but let's call a spade a spade. I think there's just opposition from some folks to this program. The reason why I changed my mind originally was because after the last time this came in front of council, I found out that the city of Aurora was already doing this. We have a monument sign at the Aurora Sports Park that not only is it advertising, or not only is it showing City of Aurora messaging, but it is also advertising for UC Health. We are collecting revenue from that. We are already doing this in the City of Aurora. And somehow staff has figured out a way to overcome First Amendment issues and whatever else, because they were able to address those concerns there and make sure that they had an advertising partner that was acceptable there. So somehow staff has figured out a way to do this. I know from talking to staff, and whether or not they're going to acknowledge this publicly tonight, I know from talking to staff, there are examples in the past where we have sole sourced to do pilot programs. They may not acknowledge that tonight publicly, but those do exist. And so I think let's just call this what it is. Some folks are opposed to this philosophically, other folks aren't. I am in favor of it. I hope a majority of my colleagues are, and I am going to support it.
Mayor.
I'm sorry, City Manager.
Yes, sir.
Could you speak to the contracting process and how we notify businesses when we have a competitive bid?
Sure. So the city does utilize a competitive request for proposals, and we will do this both for goods and services. Typically, that entails putting together a detailed scope of work for either the services that are to be rendered, or the project to be built, or the goods that are to be acquired. That then goes out, and there's a competitive bid process. To Councilmember Gardner's point, there are times when the city will do sole source procurement. There are rules and requirements as to when we will do a sole source process. And then finally, to the other point Councilmember Gardner brought up, the city does have a monument sign at the sports park. That sponsorship, that monument sign does include a sponsor agreement with the University of Colorado Health Association, where they are a sponsor, and so their logo goes up, and then the city does provide information on that monument sign about events going on internal to the sports park. The distinction I would draw between the monument sign and I think what's being proposed here, as Ms. Rustad talked about, these are, I think, external facing, and they are larger than what is currently allowed under the city's monument sign program. So there are other examples out there that the private sector has been able to utilize in terms of digital monument signs. We have some examples of those that we could provide to council if you wish to see those. But again, I think really what you're looking at in terms of what's being proposed here is sort of the size and audience of the signage in terms of how it's oriented. So with that, I'll also defer over to the city attorney, it's okay, Mr. Mayor, to talk about the legal requirements for when and how we must conduct a competitive RFP.
So specifically regarding the legal requirements, there are options within the code for certain waivers. There is not one for this particular circumstance, but the resolution specifically directs the city manager to negotiate this and authorizes that sort of waiver. It also includes a provision that the city manager is to come back to council with recommendations for the city code to allow this to happen. That's in section 1 of the resolution. So if there's weaknesses within the code to allow this, and that's identified during the negotiation process, then the expectation is that the city manager and staff would come back to council with proposed code amendments to make this compliant or to make this work within the parameters of the city code. That would, as with a 3-month time window, that's actually a longer period. What I would expect will happen is there will be a number of conditions preceding included in any negotiated contract. And what that means is until the city council were to approve those changes, and those changes would be subject to referendum, just like any other ordinance, that the performance under that contract would be stayed until it's legally compliant.
Mayor.
Councilmember Jersky.
No.
Well,
I'm sorry,
I've been
Councilmember Bergen.
asking to talk to you.
So it says in the resolution, whereas the council also understands that this will require that the city manager waive the requirements of the Aurora purchasing code, which you just spoke to. I don't understand how that is legal, because you just stated our purchasing process, that we go out for an RFP, and it's not a situation where there's not a competitor out there. We have viable competitors. So how can a resolution require the city manager to waive a purchasing code? I mean, I've never heard of this on my 9 years on council, being able to do that. And it's for one company that I don't, and again, back to what can be messaged, we have no control over what can be messaged. So it's very different from the Aurora Sports Park, because that's UC Health at the sports park related to sports medicine, I believe. They are not having other companies or organizations message on that. And this is quite different.
Mayor,
I'm sorry.
I'm right here.
Oh, Councilmember Jaworski.
But turning it into a pilot program, which is how I had originally brought it forward, you don't have to have an RFP process. Is that correct?
The code specifically does not define a pilot program. There is a provision about pilot programs that the city manager can do for purchasing and acquisition that doesn't really apply to this type of case. So I would suspect that there would need to be a proposal made by the city manager to comply with that, of establishing a pilot program that this would fit within.
Mayor.
Councilmember Jaworski, and then I would like to speak on that.
Well, no, go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry. Mayor Pro Tem, go ahead.
I just had a quick question. That dumb radar ban pilot program we did we do an RFP for that one?
No, we went with one company.
Wait, I'm sorry.
I'm
who are you
curious.
directing your question?
I don't care, staff.
No, I seem to remember that was competitive.
No.
It was? Okay, I honestly don't remember.
Pete.
Sorry, Pete Schulte, Public Safety Client Manager. That was not competitive. That was with Conduit, just one company that came forward and said, hey, we want to try this, and we did it for a year, and you guys know the result of that.
Mayor.
Councilmember Jaworski.
So, again, this isn't the first time that we've gone without doing a bid. This isn't a new thing. One company approached me to, even today, this other company that just came forward on Friday afternoon with an email, there is a council sponsor on this. And I was not contacted. You guys were direct texting my colleagues today, direct emailing them, but you did not reach out to me at all. And I am, I'm really confused by that. But all in all, Mayor, your insult talking about my special friends.
Special relationship.
Oh, I'm not sure what that means.
Mayor.
I'm not sure what that means, but with that, I would like to call for the question.
Oh.
Call for the question is a non-debatable motion. Is there a second?
Yes, Hancock.
All right, Councilmember Hancock, how about that? Okay, call for the question.
So I'd like to point out that there's one friendly amendment that has been accepted. So,
very well.
Sure.
Mayor Kaufman?
Mayor votes no.
The motion passes with 8 yes votes, 3 no votes from Mayor Kaufman, Councilmember Bergen, Councilmember Medina, to call for the question, which means in debate and vote on the main motion with the friendly amendment.
Mayor, can any more comments be made? Or
no.
Just got to vote. Okay.
You voted for it. You voted to close debate.
The motion passes with 6 yes votes, 4 no votes from Councilmember Bergen, Coombs, Medina, and Murillo.
Clerk, now please to read the title to 11, I'm sorry, to 12A.
Item 12A is public hearing consideration of ordinance 2024-38 for a zoning map amendment to rezone approximately 12593 acres of land to mixed-use regional district located between East 48th Avenue and East 38th Avenue, east of E470 to Denali Boulevard.
Public hearing is now open. Presentation by staff.
I apologize, couldn't find the mute button. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I am Debbie Bickmeyer, Senior Planner with in the Planning and Business Development Department. This is a combined presentation for items 12A, B, and C. I apologize, I've got two different views. Did this change screens? Okay, the applicant, the Aerotropolis Area Coordinating Metro District, is requesting 3 zoning map amendments consisting of approximately 212 acres within the Aurora Highlands Master Plan area, which is outlined in blue in this map. The areas subject to the proposed zoning map amendments are situated in the northwest quadrant of the Master Plan area, which is adjacent to 48th Avenue and E470, and that area is outlined in red. The area of the proposed zoning map amendments are designated City Corridor Place Type and Emerging Neighborhood Place Type by the Aurora Highlands Comprehensive Plan, the Aurora Comprehensive Plan. The applicant proposes 3 zoning map amendments. The first request is to rezone 125.93 acres from mixed-use airport MUA to mixed-use regional MUR district. This area is immediately adjacent to E470 and 48th Avenue. The second request, here we go. The second request is to rezone 16.54 acres from mixed-use airport to medium density residential district, and this area is located in the southwest quadrant of 48th Avenue and Denali Boulevard. The third request is to rezone 69.81 acres from medium density residential to mixed use regional district. This area is located west of Denali Boulevard and Main Street. The MUR and R2 districts both permit various single family and multifamily residential development. The proposed MUR zoning will encourage higher density development adjacent to E470 that transitions to lower density residential uses while ensuring a highly connected and walkable environment. Staff finds the proposed zoning map amendment complies with the approval criteria provided in the UDO and is consistent with the spirit and intent of the Aurora Places and aligns with the Aurora Highlands Master Plan. The Planning and Zoning Commission voted unanimously to recommend approval of the 3 proposed zoning map amendments at a public hearing on July 4th, 2024. This concludes my presentation. The applicant is available if you would like to ask any questions.
Is the applicant here to give a presentation?
No, the applicant is available for questions.
Is there anyone who wishes to be heard on item number 12A?
No.
Very well. Questions of staff, the applicant, or the applicant by council? Seeing none, public hearing is closed and a motion is in order for number 12A.
Mayor, I move to move forward 12A.
Moved by Councilmember Sundberg, seconded by
Bergen.
Councilmember Bergen to approve item number 12A. Discussion? Seeing none, call for the question on 12A.
Councilmember Coombs. Councilmember Coombs. The motion passes to adopt item 12A.
Will clerk now please read the title to item number 12B?
Item 12B is public hearing, consideration of ordinance 2024-39 for a zoning map amendment to rezone approximately 1654 acres of land to medium-density residential district located between East 48th Avenue and East 38th Avenue, east of E470 to Denali Boulevard.
Does anybody wish to be heard on item number 12B?
Mayor, you have to open the public hearing.
Oh. Public hearing is open. We've had a presentation by staff, previous presentation that applies to item number 12B. Are there questions of the applicant by council? Seeing none, is there anybody who wishes to be heard on this issue?
No.
Public hearing is closed. Motion is in order.
Mayor, I move to approve 12B.
Moved by Councilmember Sundberg, seconded by Councilmember Hancock to approve item number 12B. Discussion? Seeing none, call for the question on item number 12B.
The motion passes to adopt item 12B.
Would the clerk now please read the title to item number 12C?
Item 12C is public hearing, consideration of ordinance 2024-40 for a zoning map amendment to rezone approximately 6981 acres of land to mixed-use regional district located between East 48th Avenue and East 38th Avenue, east of E470 to Denali Boulevard.
Are there public hearing is now open. Questions of staff or the applicant? Seeing none, is there anybody who wishes to be heard on this issue?
No.
Just do say that the presentation applies.
Very well. Previous presentation applies to item number 12C. The public hearing is now closed and a motion is in order.
Mayor, I move to approve 12C.
Moved by Councilmember Sundberg, seconded by
Zvonik.
Mayor Pro Tem Zvonik to approve item number 12C. Item number, would the clerk now please read the title to item number 13A?
Mayor, I'm getting the votes right now for 12C.
Oh, call for the question on item number 12C.
Thank you. The motion passes to adopt item 12C.
Clerk now please read the title to item number 13A.
Item 13A is introduction of ordinance 2024-41, amending chapter 26 relating to short-term rentals.
Motion is in order. I'm sorry, I'd like a brief staff presentation on item number 13A.
Yes, thank you. Trevor Vaughn, Manager of Licensing. This is a technical adjustment to the ordinance to just move a bullet around to make it more clear in its intent in reading it.
Motion is in order. Are there any questions of staff? Item number 13A. Seeing none, a motion is in order for the adoption of item number 13A.
Mayor, motion to approve item 13A.
Moved by Councilmember Jurenski, seconded by
Sundberg.
Councilmember Sundberg to approve item number 13A. Discussion? Seeing none, question before us is the adoption of item number 13A. Call for the question.
The motion passes to adopt item 13A.
Clerk, now please read the title to item number 13B.
Item 13B is introduction of ordinance 2024-42, adding section 54-100 and article 7 petition requirements, amending sections 54-1, 54-3, and 54-7, and repealing and replacing sections 54-2, 54-66 through 54-76, 54-121 through 54-133, and 54-141 through 54-152 of the Aurora City Code regarding elections.
Brief presentation by staff.
Mayor, Katie Rodriguez, City Clerk, this ordinance is to update portions of the election code related to citizen-initiated petitions and campaign finance definition placement.
Questions of staff?
I'm giving it right now.
Oh.
The proposed amendments would solve procedural and structural inconsistencies found in Chapter 54 of the City Code.
Questions of staff? Seeing none, motion is in order.
Like I said, if you would have done a bid, it wouldn't have mattered because the longer than one.
Mayor, motion to go with 13B.
Moved by Councilmember Medina, seconded by
You changed it to a pilot.
Second by Councilmember Lawson to approve item number 13B. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, the question before us is the adoption of item number 13B. Call for the question.
The motion passes to adopt item 13B.
Would the clerk now please read the title to item number 13C?
Item 13C is Ordinance 2024-43, amending Chapter 2, Section 66 of the Aurora City Code regarding the Office of Internal Audit and other related matters.
Mayor? Oh, I was going to do a motion.
Is there a brief presentation by staff?
Good evening, this is Michelle Crawford, City Auditor. So this ordinance incorporates updates from our leading practices, incorporates our current practices in place, and also includes updates from our recently updated audit standards to bring us into compliance.
Questions of staff? Seeing none, motion is...
Mayor.
I'm sorry.
Gardner.
Councilmember Gardner?
Thanks, Mayor. I would like to propose an amendment. Okay.
Motion is in order.
Mayor.
Councilmember Bergen?
Yes, motion to approve 13C, and I think the change is in our backup.
It's been moved by Councilmember Bergen, seconded by? Seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Zvonek to approve item number 13C. Discussion?
Mayor Gardner?
Councilmember Gardner?
Thank you. I'd like to propose an amendment to letter I to the last, or add a sentence to the last part of that paragraph that reads, "The city auditor must obtain an external peer review every 3 years."
Mayor?
Councilmember Bergen?
As the sponsor, I approve that.
Very well. It's accepted as a friendly amendment.
Accept.
Further discussion? Seeing none, question before us is the adoption of item number 13C as amended. Call for the question.
The motion passes to adopt item 13C.
Clerk, now please read the title to item number 17A.
Item 17A is City Council approval of the City Manager's appointment of Todd Chamberlain as the Aurora Chief of Police. And Mayor, we do have individuals who would like to speak.
Very well.
Emma Chambers. Robbie DeYoung.
Hang on.
Wait. Oh, I'm sorry.
Good evening, elected officials, appointed officials, and fellow citizens. Tonight, I'm compelled to come before you and speak as a citizen of Aurora for the last 24 years and of Colorado for over 44 years. My concern is the process used to appoint a new chief without allowing the community to be involved. Make no mistake, community speaking tonight after the fact does not check the box of involvement in the process and is an insult to Aurora citizens considering the effect leadership has on our lives. Your candidate came on the LAPD in 1984. In 1992, the LA riots due to the Rodney King beating by 4 white officers sent a wave of distrust in new police policy across the police world that affected all immensely forever. Even with video of the incident, all 4 officers were found not guilty. Citizen anger and distrust was at the highest. 1993, gang violence was at its highest in Denver, and a gang unit was formed. It's my understanding from the news conference, Aurora now has a gang unit due to large criminal behavior activity. Your candidate came from this environment of racial injustice and defended his position of the $1 million lawsuit brought against Los Angeles Police Department. Aurora PD is under consent decree to promote healthier relations relations with community and trust. How can this even go forward when citizens who voted elected officials sitting in your chairs to be a voice don't allow the community to be a voice in choices? How did we get here? Everyone has a negative Aurora police story. Here's mine. In shorts and tank top, I was approached by an officer on a field day about my car parked on the street legally in front of a white man's house. Officer requested ID, so I had to go to the trunk of my car. I stated I'm a police officer and I have a gun in my purse. As I handed him my ID, the officer pulled his gun and instructed me to get on the ground as he called for backup and held his gun pointed at me. My God, what chance does regular citizens have? That's not the training. None of it is the training. From Trayvon Martin, Rodney King, Elijah McClain, George Floyd, and the many others before and after. Your former appointed official pushed out the Aurora chief who, through many meetings, completed the consent decree and fired the officers that needed to be fired, doing the hard work that caused her career. No one else over here wanted to do. And why is that? The interim police leave. The present one doesn't want her career ending like former police chief. When has this community you're elected to stand up for become less than, except at election time? The betrayal and distrust is real. And lastly, with the gang problem Aurora has, you might want to reconsider your existing position with Denver, as Aurora will need all the help and more. And that's from my experience and what I know from dealing with community policing. Your officers are catching hell right now. Consent decree, homeless people, gangs, community accountability, we're all affected by the bad actions of a few too long. Prayers for healing.
Robbie DeYoung.
Council, Mayor, I think you already know from the letter that I sent recently, basically where I'm going to come from on this. I don't care if the new police chief is pink with purple dots. I don't care if he's from Egypt. All I care about is that he is here to straighten up this city. While you guys are all worrying about how do we get more housing, how do we get more businesses, and completely neglecting taking care of the problems we have right now. We need to focus on the problems we have right now. Some of the problems not in order. Speeders, shoplifting, homeless, fix it, don't hide it. Auto theft, vandalism, porch pirates, drugs, gangs, whether they're international or local. Police morale and stability. The police need a leader that will give them that. We need to increase the number of police officers that we have. We need to focus on that. We need to find out why we aren't getting the quality officers that we need to take care of our city properly, all of our citizens. This is just a little suggestion. Actually, it's kind of a big suggestion. When the ambulances go down the street, when the fire trucks go down the street, when the police go down the street, all of them have monitors in their vehicle. They all have cams. All these people that refuse to get out of their way, you've got photos of that. Give them
Is this about the new police chief?
Yes.
Please pertain to, please.
This is what I'd like to see done. I would like to see the the crime statistic data from the PD put back up. I would like to see the community crime map from LexisNexis put back up. I would like to see the Watch Commander forum put back up. I would like us to focus on how to help the homeless. There's just so many things we need to do to clean up the city. And we need a good, solid police chief that will do that for us. I'm so glad we don't have another interim police chief. That was just ridiculous. So please consider it.
Angelia Baker.
Okay.
Long night, council, long night. But here we go. Mayor Mike Kaufman, I'm focusing my attention on you. In the ethnicity that I come from, there is a saying, game recognizes game. You're playing chess, not checkers. And the reason I say that is because the influence you have over this council, the influence that you...
Is this to the chief?
Yes, it is to the chief. Will you let me finish? I'll let you speak for a whole hour, sit up here, and let these two women rant and rave over something else. So now give me back my time, sir. But as I was saying before, I was so rudely interrupted, and I was not rude to you, that the fact that you control so much is why we have the chief that you want to vote in tonight. The fact that you control so much has put our city in jeopardy by bringing in a chief and not involving the community. The community is important to what needs to be said here tonight. But every time we try to come and talk about something, you won't allow it. So I hope that others see around you how you cut them off and how you belittle people, and the fact that we're going to experience the same drama and we'll have a 7th and an 8th chief after this. Good night, sir.
Eliza Lucero. Eliza Lucero.
Hello, Council. My name is Eliza Lucero. I'm an organizer with the Party for Socialism and Liberation. I am here to oppose the appointment of Todd Chamberlain as the police chief. I would like to remind this council that APD has been found guilty by the Attorney General for having a pattern and practice of racially biased policing, and was found to excessively use force, specifically on minority populations in Aurora. We've most recently seen this racist culture and practice exemplified by APD officer Michael Deek, shooting unarmed Kylan Lewis. Repeatedly, this council and APD have stated that it is a top priority to build trust and improve relations between APD and the community that they have brutalized for decades. But now this council, without any community input, is about to approve Todd Chamberlain as the new chief of police. And who even is Todd Chamberlain? So I've been reading CPR and Denver 7 articles, and both are touting that Chamberlain has so much experience working in diverse communities, and that AG Weiser is confident that he will build trust between the police and the community. But honestly, these reports are baffling to me, because if we let Chamberlain's track record speak for itself, it becomes clear that he is, without a shadow of a doubt, going to perpetuate this racist and corrupt system of policing in Aurora. So what is his track record? Todd Chamberlain is formerly LAPD, where he has a long history of corruption, racism, and violence, embodying every single aspect of what is already rampant within APD. Chamberlain rose through the ranks during the time of the racist police beating of Rodney King, And in the 90s, his department was caught in a vast corruption and drug dealing scandal by officers who would falsify reports and frame innocent civilians for their crimes. This scheme resulted in over 100 civilians being wrongfully convicted for crimes committed by those officers in Chamberlain's division. Again, in 2015, Todd Chamberlain was the head of LAPD's Mission Division, and when his department underwent investigation, it found that over 80 police cars in his division had antennas that had been removed, and that officers were regularly tampering with video and monitoring systems meant to hold them accountable. They were found to be particularly doing this when entering inner city communities where Black and brown citizens live. As if these things alone were not bad enough to not bring this man to Aurora, in 2011, Black Officer Earl Wright of the LAPD, well, it wasn't filed, I'm sure it was filed before then, but filed a discrimination lawsuit on the basis of race while Chamberlain was his superior, stating that Chamberlain failed to discipline a white officer who placed a piece of fried chicken and a slice of watermelon on a cake for Officer Wright, among other racist pranks. Wright also had racist text messages sent to him from white officers, one of which explicitly used the N-word. A jury awarded Officer Wright $1.2 million in damages for this racist behavior that was done under Chamberlain's supervision. Does this sound like the kind of behavior that will make a change for better in Aurora? No. The occurrences under Chamberlain are reminiscent of scandals Aurora has already been facing. We're asking that this police department be held accountable, and this is the opposite of that. We want community control of the police. Don't let Aurora be the city that welcomes corruption.
Ayante Anderson.
Not no, but hell no. That's the way I need you to vote tonight. Not no, but hell no. That's the way we need you to vote here tonight. You are getting ready to appoint a chief of police that has had zero community input whatsoever. Zero. Do you truly believe that your communities that you were elected to represent are going to be confident with your pick without even soliciting their feedback? Not no, but hell no. Do you believe that an individual who left students as the chief of police when the school board said we want more mental health support so we're going to reduce spending on police budget, he left them? Is that the leader Aurora needs? Not no, but hell no. When we talk about an individual who was overseeing an officer who was called the N-word, left a piece of fried chicken on his desk with watermelon slices, is that the chief of police Aurora needs? Not no, but hell no. When we see an individual hopping from place to place to place to place to place, hoping that he gets a job as the chief of police, is Aurora truly going to be the city that says, come on over here, we'll get you if you've been rejected from everybody else? Not no, but hell no. So I need you all to stand up as leaders today, not literally, but figuratively, and say not no, but hell no to his appointment. This is a travesty. Nobody was involved, no community meetings, nothing. We were at the last city council meeting, we didn't even have the opportunity to know he was your sole finalist. You did this in 2 weeks. It took you 45 days to find a chief of police from the interim saying, I don't want the job, but it's been 95 days since Kylin has been killed and nothing for his family. So I know you know how to get answers for shit you want to have answers to. Six police chiefs in 6 years. One of them chased out by one of your council members. 6 police chiefs in 6 years. You all should be ashamed of yourself that we are even having this conversation. So today, I need you to vote not no, but hell no. Thank you.
Connor Block. Connor Block.
Good evening, councilors. It's been a long night, so I'll keep this brief. I'm not from Aurora, but I was born and raised in Minneapolis, and I have seen racist policing. I was there when Philando Castile was murdered. I was there when George Floyd was murdered. And I'm sick and tired of having the exact same fight I've been having for the last 5 years. I would be frustrated by the implication that a chief of police, a position that affects every member of this community, could be selected without community input. But to do so in pursuit of a man too racist for the LAPD, who has been fired from departments all around the country, is downright insulting. This is not the man that should be representing this city. And the city of Aurora cannot be the last refuge for people that could not find a home elsewhere. That is not what this council should stand for. There have been 6 police chiefs in the last 6 years. And I ask all of you to question whether this is the one who's truly going to fix the problem. APD has often been represented as afflicted by bad apples, and I contend that it is in fact rotten to the core. Can this man, Todd Chamberlain, truly change that himself? Is this the person we need to bring about the real change this city needs? I contend that it is not, and that he is not correct to solve these problems. My former speakers have elucidated clearly the problems he has faced in his past positions, the things that he has represented for his past departments, and the implication that he should bring those things here without any input from the people most directly affected is an insult to the citizens that you represent. Todd Chamberlain is not right for this city. He's not right for this department. And for things to change, meaningfully change, he cannot be the person in charge. I ask whether any of the numerous tragedies that have unfolded in this city would have been prevented by his appointment. If he had been chief of police, would Kylan Lewis be alive today? And if the answer to that question is no, then he is not right for this job. And with that, I yield the rest of my time.
Median Holmes.
Jason, in an article about the identifying candidate for chief of police, you were quoted saying, "The feedback we heard from experts in the field was that there were many qualified candidates that would not take part in a public process because it could place their current job in jeopardy. So, in order to ensure that we had the most qualified candidate pool, we utilized the process that included our direct recruitment of candidates without publicly exposing their names or interest. The irony that Todd was not even in a current position is not lost on me. I'm gonna tell you what, Jason, you didn't have a problem getting qualified candidates in the pool because of their public, the public knowing what they're doing. You had a problem because this is the Aurora Police Department. Nobody wants this job. So you went and you said, well, who doesn't anyone want? Todd Chamberlain. When he was interviewed, he said, use of force is going to happen, and I'm sorry. But that's the unfortunate reality of what life in law enforcement is. But his goal is just to make sure we don't have disproportionate number of uses of force. That's his goal? Let's just spread it out a little bit. White people join us in this fight, they're coming for you. He also said, I have a passion for law enforcement. I believe in what it stands for. I have seen what it's done when it's done properly and ethically, what the results are, what the outcomes are, not only to the agency or the organization of the officers, but to the people that we serve. And then, more importantly, I've had the opportunity to see when it's not done correctly, and what happens in the community. So if he knows what it looks like when things are not done correctly, you have to ask, why is he up for the job? Why is he willing to accept a job where the community was not involved in the process? It is not being done correctly. As I've sat and watched this raggedy meeting about district or digital billboards and all of the energy that came from this room, I hope you keep that same energy when you start talking about hiring a police chief that thinks use of force is just the inevitability. Keep that same energy. The other thing that I saw tonight has to do with liberation. Last time we were here, there was a gesture from each member of City Council when we asked to stand if you think Kylan Lewis should be alive. And something different happened today. Somebody took your liberation. You all are free to make your own vote. Don't let this little gavel refuse you from your freedom.
Jonathan Ort. Jonathan Ort.
For 95 days, the Aurora City Council has demonstrated its approval of Kylan Lewis's murder by failing to do anything. Bearing this fact in mind, I testify tonight to express my dismay at the City Council's anti-democratic decision to nominate Todd Chamberlain for Aurora's next police chief. At last week's press conference, as my predecessor just noted, Commander Chamberlain declared, quote, "There is no way you can say that you aren't going to have to use force." To my mind, that sentiment disqualifies him. Commander Chamberlain is about to lead the only police department in Colorado's history that wages anti-black violence so flagrantly it necessitated a consent decree. Before his appointment has even been confirmed, he has already promised to deploy violence against the people of Aurora. I was no less dismayed to read that he allowed appalling racism at the LAPD. It takes only a Google search to learn that in recent years, his failure to hold racist officers accountable has dogged his serial efforts to lead police departments, including in Little Rock and Chattanooga. In a 2019 interview, he had the gall to tell black residents of Little Rock that he doesn't, quote, think there's anything more hurtful than being classified or labeled as a racist when it's not deserved. With Kylan's family in attendance tonight, I wonder whether Commander Chamberlain still can't imagine anything more hurtful than telling the truth about policing in this country. I recognize that our words tonight more than likely can't change the hearts of those who are listening. But I will close then with this promise. If Aurora deems Commander Chamberlain worthy of its trust, or if it does not, this community's resolve for justice will not waver. The love that the Lewis family has for Kylan, the love that we heard expressed from Miss LaRonda Jones, from Miss Andrese Lewis, from Mr. Kiowa Lewis, it abides. It has abided for 95 days. It will abide for 100. It will abide for 1,000. It will abide for 10 years, for 100 years. Your political terms come and go. Tonight, you have the opportunity to make the right choice.
Sherdina Lewis. Sherdina Lewis. Aaron Futrell.
Good evening, council, mayor, manager. I'm going to piggyback off of that young gentleman because we were talking about signs earlier. The signs are all over the place that Todd Chamberlain is not the right man to lead this police department. I get that it's the city manager's job under the city charter to choose, and most of the time I agree with your decisions. I have a good relationship with you. I think you're a very sound mind, but honestly, this time, I can't agree with it. I literally took my break last week to watch the press conference. I thought it started off very well, and then it became a train wreck. My background's in criminal justice, and hearing this man literally say that use of force will always happen in policing, it dropped my jaw because it doesn't always have to happen in policing. There's always a way to de-escalate and not create use of force. When you're choosing a man who's saying he believes in use of force, you're creating a situation where there's going to be another Elijah McClain, there's going to be another Kylan Lewis, there's going to be another, as much as I disagree with the Preston Nunn situation, another Preston Nunn. You want the protesters to go away? Use your head and this is really sad that when the most community input that we've had about this police chief is this resolution right here, 17A. The voice is right back here. I don't care if you're Democrat, I don't care if you're Republican, I don't care if you're independent, a cat or a dog. The community just wants their voices heard. And I understand. And then for you to be a little curt about how it's your choice, and I'm sorry, again, it's on record. The police chief was quoted as saying, well, you used community input before and it didn't work. Well, you know what? The last three choices, there wasn't community input. Those choices didn't work. So how do you measure what works and what doesn't work? All we're asking is to have a voice. Where is he tonight, where he could have greeted people and said, hey, this is what I meant. It was taken out of context. He's not here. The community wants a voice to know the true intent behind this man. And if this man can't show up tonight, how is he going to show up for community in the future?
Mayor, that was the last person.
Motion is in order. Motion is in order.
Mayor, I move to approve 17A.
It's been moved by Councilmember Sundberg, seconded by
Bergen.
Councilmember Bergen to approve item number 17A. Discussion?
Mayor,
Councilmember Murillo.
thank you. I want us to be successful here in Aurora. We have many challenges. I feel like I'm preaching to the choir here. I am not going to be supporting this candidate. I do believe that this person will be the next police chief. So I want to say that I look forward to working with this individual to make the department as best as we can and to hold accountability as my top priorities. Mainly for this reason, mainly for the reason that I agree, we did not have a community process. Unfortunately, we've been through way too many of these police searches that we can compare and contrast what that's looked like. So at a minimum, I absolutely don't agree. I think, so I'm not going to be supporting this candidate. Again, I'll do my best to work with my colleagues, with community. I hear your concerns, and see what we can do to hold accountability in Aurora, as I know you care very deeply about what that looks like here. So just wanted to express, I know it's not an easy decision, but I won't be supporting this candidate.
Further discussion?
Mayor?
Councilmember Bergen.
Yeah, I just wanted to correct something that was repeated a couple times about his involvement with the racism that happened in the LAPD, and that was absolutely reprehensible. We all agree on that. But he had just gotten there. He had been there 2 weeks, and he literally is the one who reported it and investigated it. So I just want to correct that record. I think it would be good to listen to the entire press conference. It's really difficult to be asked questions by the media and be able to answer all the questions. And he did a really good job, in my opinion. And it may not be every single question, but I saw a lot of media heads nodding in agreement. And I think you should go back and listen to the press conference and give him a chance. Everyone agrees we've had revolving door of interim police chiefs, and we need stability in this department. You guys want accountability. You want us to have better training. This is what he's about. And I respected you. I did not laugh when you were speaking. I would expect the same respect, please. So anyway, I will be supporting him.
Further discussion? Seeing none, question before us is the adoption of item number 17A. Call for the question.
We will not forget.
Mayor Kaufman? Mayor Kaufman?
Mayor votes yes.
The motion passes with 8 yes votes, 2 no votes from Councilmember Medina and Councilmember Mario.
We will not forget. You're killing people in the streets.
Will the clerk? Recess for 5 minutes. Please read the title to 17B.
Mayor, we need a vote to go virtual first.
Okay, motion is in order.
Mayor, motion to go virtual.
Moved by the Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by
Bergen.
Councilmember Bergen to go virtual. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, do we have to have a recorded vote by name?
Yes. Well, they can vote on their computers, or if
Okay,
you don't have it,
okay.
just take it.
Discussion, seeing no discussion, call for the question.
Mayor Kaufman?
On 17B, Mayor votes yes.
Mayor, this is to conduct the meeting virtually.
Go virtual.
Mayor votes yes.
Different questions.
I'm a yes.
Yes. Yes.
Are there any no's?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, I'm just sitting here.
I mean, it's okay, I can,
I'm a yes.
okay.
Sorry about that, I'm not even paying attention.
Councilmember Gardner, are you there?
I don't see him.
Okay. All right. The motion passes to conduct the meeting virtually.
Clerk, please read the title to item number 17B.
Item 17B is 2024 council meeting calendar amendment.
Motion is in order. Motion is in order.
Mayor, motion to approve item 17.
Moved by Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by Councilmember Murillo to approve item number 17B. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, call for the question on the adoption of 17B.
Do we have any no's? It's easier. Okay. The motion passes to adopt the amendment to the 2024 City Council meeting calendar.
Reports. I just want to report that encouraged to follow me on Facebook. Actually, you don't have to be on Facebook to access my Facebook page by going to Mike Kaufman Facebook. And would encourage you to do that. Let's see. Councilmember Zwanek.
Yeah, so I just want to say thank you to our city manager for the process that, and I know we took some criticism from some members of the community for the process that brought us Todd, but I actually thought it was the right way for us to find the best available candidate, and I was happy that none of my colleagues opposed the process throughout the process, in fact participated in it, and we ended up with a person who I believe will be a fantastic chief for our city and will help turn our department around. So I welcome Todd, and I want to thank Jason for the process that he put forward. And finally, I want to just talk about a quick trip that the mayor, Jason, and Janine from city took along with other members of the Fitzsimmons Innovation community to visit Kendall Square. I believe that the Fitzsimmons Innovation Campus, the FRA, holds enormous potential for the city of Aurora and for the state of Colorado, and it was a great learning experience for us to be out there and see how they incorporated the university, the life and bioscience companies, and the private and public sector coming together to really innovate and do good things for our community. I think that we can replicate here in Aurora. So I look forward to continue to work on that board and move that campus along.
Councilmember Gardner. Councilmember Jonesky.
No report.
Councilmember Coombs. Councilmember Murillo.
Thanks, Mayor. I am having to cancel my September town hall due to a unavoidable work conflict, and because there was a double booking at the Moorhead Recreation Center. I'm gonna move with being like a voter polling and center. I'm needing to push up my October town hall to October 17th. Generally, we do like a conversation on the different ballot measures. So I hope to see you all in October. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Sundberg?
Thank you, sir. I've been seeing you around town a little bit. Gersha, Ethiopian, ribbon cutting. Food was delicious.
Right,
Great
very good.
people. Intermountain Healthcare medical offices came to Ward 2, way out east there. It's nice to get some medical offices out there on the Eastern Plains, sir. I want to welcome Todd Chamberlain. I think that's a good, solid man right there. He's going to help us fight crime. He's going to build trust in the community. He's going to be like the Alec Otten fire department related to our police force. I trust him, and my confidence is with him and in him. Affordable housing ceremony at Restoration Christian Fellowship Church with Stephanie Hancock. We were there celebrating this idea and the vision of that church to see some, and their late pastor, to see some affordable housing. That's pretty impressive. And lastly, I ran into my colleague here and my colleague here at a road called Straight Youth Violence Prevention Community Gathering and Discussion. These people are really making some things happen, taking kids jet skiing and mentoring and really factoring mental health and just doing good, positive, practical things.
Thank you. Councilmember Medina?
No report.
Councilmember Hancock?
Thank you, Mayor. I had the opportunity to visit Bella Vita Senior Community right on Havana at the Havana Garden Shopping Center for their community meeting. Thanks, folks, for having me there. We had a very vigorous discussion about crime and about safety and about them being good stewards in their community. And so if you are in Ward 4 and you have a community or HOA meeting you'd like for me to come and speak to, please reach out to me at shancock@auroragov.org. And we'll see if I can get that on the calendar, because I work for you and I want to make sure that you're being heard in the community. And I want to also echo the fact that I believe that we made a very good choice in choosing Todd Chamberlain after a lot of rigorous process. I don't know. I was aware of the process. I don't know what other people were doing, but I was aware of the process, and we worked through it, and it was well done. And he is the best candidate for where we are right now. He knows the job is dangerous, but he's here for it, and we're here to support him. And I wish him the best, and I know he'll do a good job.
Councilmember Lawson?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to just read a legislative update. Colorado special session on property tax legislation started today and is expected to last 3 days. In addition to the legislation regarding ballot measures 50, which is the voter approval to retain additional property tax revenue, and 108, the valuation for assessment, there were actually 13 other bills. However, they are not expected to pass at this time. If I was going to read all these, but I'm not, but you can go to www.leg.colorado.gov, and they have all the bills that they were going to propose, and I definitely don't think they're going to get through any of these. In federal news, Congress has until October 1st to pass the budget for the fiscal year 2025, which includes several congressional project spending requests from the city. And that's the end of my report, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Bergen?
Yes, Mayor. I just simply want to welcome Todd Chamberlain, and I think he's going to lead the department in a very, with integrity.
Thank you. Seeing no other further business before the Aurora City Council meeting is adjourned.